That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is Commissioner Cooper. And I know it's fight night tonight, but the main event's not going to come on till later. We got to think about your future, which, of course, is a fantasy victory this weekend. And we're here to help you do it. I got Brian Scott in the building from the Injury List podcast to go over, of course, all the injury news. We got Fred the Jester in the house tonight making his Friday night appearance. So we're going to have a lot of fun with that. Of course, Mr. Mallard gives you sophisticated starts of the week. And like I said, it's not quite time yet for a Mike Tyson punch out, but it's time for TSS Fantasy.
Yeah! Here we go!
It's time for TSS Fantasy. It is Commissioner Cooper.
I could do a whole 49ers show right now.
Ready to rock out with my gavel out.
Oh yeah, baby!
Don't sleep on my Patriots,
I think we're ready for football. Is that
Joe Burrow with this wrist? I'm curious.
I find him guilty of all charges.
although you consistent force in this
Please develop some really great chemistry.
DJ Chuck Bass.
This guy has been doing it ever since coming off.
I hope you like the way I pimped
He's
you out.
seen 4 targets in all 3 of the classes.
Game for the touchdown this year.
You know, the great thing about being a football player is you don't have to take a shower to go to work.
There it is.
Making his Friday night debut. Let's hear it.
Friday! Yeah! Let's go!
All right, we got Fred the Jester in the house. Like I said, we got fight night tonight, but we most importantly got your Friday night breakdown. We're going to go over all of week 11, so let's get it started. Pay the bills, of course, first. If you're watching on YouTube, do us a solid, hit subscribe, like, and of course, throw your lineup questions in and be happy to answer those for you tonight. We do appreciate you doing that. Little things stopping you from doing it, big things popping for us when you do. Don't forget, also playing some daily fantasy. Go to Underdog Fantasy. Use the promo code TSS. We'll double that deposit up to $100. Can't get no better than that. Pro-Am Belts is the place to go if you're looking for some championship bling for your fantasy champion. Make sure you check our boys out there. All right, Fred, let's get things started off tonight with a little tiny bit of news. Well, about last night, indeed, that was an interesting game last night. We had talked about the struggles of the Washington offense starting to go in the last couple weeks, but again, the Philly defense I think really showed out last night. 26-18, especially against the run. Did a great job last night. Anyway, real quick, just fantasy, some little stats. Brian Robinson on the Washington side did get in the end zone. He had 63 yards in the TD. Austin Eckler had a great PPR night. Led the Commanders, let's say Redskins, in receptions, 8 receptions for 89 yards. Zach Ertz having a little bit of a revenge game with 6 receptions, 47 yards, and that garbage time TD at the end. Jalen Hurts last night, of course, did his thing on the ground and got Alicia in the end zone, 39 yards and a touchdown, 221 yards in the air, though, so not much there. But the big dog of the night, Saquon, Mr. Barkley, if you're nasty, 146 rushing yards, 2 TDs, caught 2 receptions for 52 yards. Boy, you're looking good for this week if you had him in. Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert all kind of filled in. Devonta Smith is one I was going to mention that I struggled a bit last night. Only 29 yards with 4 receptions. So if you started him, you're kind of hurting there. All right, Fred. So what do you think of last night? Any standout thing, or what do you think? Look at bro. What's up, Chris?
I thought it was a good game. We were going to see how Washington fared against their division rivals. The Eagles are supposed to win the division. Washington's the new kids on the block. They played good, but just not well enough to beat the Eagles. I'm happy. In my main league, I was playing the Juices lose Greg. I have Saquon Barkley. He's undefeated. He's 10-0, Greg. So he might have to give him his first defeat this week. So we're going to try. We're going to try. Let's go.
Yeah,
Again.
bro. Listen, I'm in the home league too, and it's like I can't believe what I'm watching. Not only, I don't know if you know that I was going to talk about it on Sunday, not to talk about our fantasy leagues, but Greg actually 10-0 in that league, and in our dynasty league, he's 9-1 right now. He's just having the year of years, bro.
The
That's all
juice is loose.
The juice is for sure loose up in our league. That is for sure. All right. Well, nobody wants to hear about our league. Let's get some injury news. We got Brian Scott from the Injury List podcast going to bring us inside the medical tent. Let's go.
A.J. Dillon just went into the medical tent a moment ago.
Guys, I am so psyched for this Tyson fight, Jay. We were talking about this before. I got to tell this story real quick. High school, I think it's junior, senior year. My good buddy Deuce Delgado, his cousin Richie the Bull Melito out of Flushing, Queens, New York, going up against Smoking Burt Cooper in the Garden at the theater. Prime time, Saturday night fights. We're all psyched. We go to the back boxing match. Smoking Burt Cooper knocked down Evander Holyfield. This is like 1995, 1996. This dude's no joke. Richie the Bull's got to be like 20 years old. He's an up-and-coming heavyweight. He gets in the ring. First round, right to the gut. He drops to a knee. That's it. Fight's over. We found ourselves at a strip club, underage, drinking with the ticket stubs from the fight. What a great memory. This is what Mike Tyson brings. This is seeing Tyson in the ring. This is what it reminds me of. So I'm all juiced up tonight. This is going to be awesome.
Oh yeah, listen, not for nothing. We talked about that pre-show. I haven't watched boxing in a while. It's just there's so much going on with it. I don't know who's champ or what. It's just goes, but man, am I excited to watch this tonight. That's
mostly because I just want to see Jake Paul get knocked down at least once, man, right in the face.
That old school, just a little something.
Just one punch. If you could just feel the power from like 1985, like that's all. Just
that's all we're asking. That's all we're asking, Mike. Come on.
But anyway, listen. I know why I'm here. I got a job to do. Let's do it. Listen, there's a lot of updates that happened since my last report on Thursday with Dan Mader over there on Operation Domination. So you guys are getting, if you're watching this video now, this is a prime time update right here. There's been a lot of stuff happening in the last 48 hours. Tank Bigsby officially out with this ankle injury. He missed practice all week. He's been dealing with this all season. Apparently he aggravated it this past Sunday, but he's now officially out. So don't expect him to suit up. Aaron Jones is questionable. He was limited in practice Thursday with the rib injury. It looked really serious at first. Apparently, the only reason they carted him off was because the x-ray machine was on the complete opposite side of the stadium, and they didn't want him to have to walk. So apparently, it looked much worse than it really was. Pacheco, he's officially out. He's off IR, but he's not quite ready to come back this weekend. So I expect we'll probably see him next weekend, but he is officially activated again. So that's good news. Jaylen Warren dealing with a back injury. He did not participate in any team drills today. He's going to be out. Najee Harris, though, is in, so you'll have him to carry the load. Tyreek Hill's been dealing with some torn ligament in his wrist, apparently all season. Got aggravated when he got cuffed and roughed up a little bit by the popo back in week 1. So it sounds like they know he's got a torn ligament. He's been dealing with it. He doesn't want surgery till the season's over. I don't think he's going to do anything with this if the Dolphins have any meaningful games left. But at some point, he might want to pull the trigger and get this fixed sooner rather than later. So we'll have to see. Amari Cooper, he's listed as questionable. It sounds like he's going to play, but he's going to have a big, bulky cast or splint or something on his wrist to protect him that could factor into his ability to make catches. So pay attention to that, but he should be playing. Keon Coleman, on the other hand, with his wrist injury, he's officially out. This will be second week in a row. Nico Collins, he's coming back from a hamstring injury. He is in. He was limited yesterday, but did participate full today. He says he's 100%. We'll see him Monday Night Football for them. T. Higgins, he is expected to play with this quad injury. Sounds like he got through a couple of practice sessions this week and sounds good to go. Same thing with Michael Pittman. He took a week off. Sounds like it did him wonders. He'll be back this week with the back issue, but he sounds like he's 100% recovered. As is DK Metcalf, this should be the week we see him come back. He logged multiple full practices this week. George Kittle, hamstring issue. Sounds like it was just an irritation or aggravation, but practice limited the last 2 days. I think we'll see him Sunday. despite the limited participation. And then Dalton Kincaid and Sam Laporta both out. Kincaid with a knee injury, unfortunately, even though he tried to come back in that game this past weekend. And Laporta with an AC joint sprain did not practice this week. He is officially out. And that's it, man. A lot of stuff happening since Thursday when I did this last report.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the Bills game real quick. I just want to say Dawson Knox in the rankings just went from like wherever in the nothing to almost top 10 because this is a good matchup this week. So anyway, all right, Brian, we appreciate you. As always, we'll obviously see you on Sunday morning. So make sure you wake up with us. Brian, give you the latest in injuries. Where else can we find you online and get your great stuff? Online. Talk about the Jake Paul injury.
Yeah, so I go over to the Jake Paul devastated injuries that I'm sure he'll suffer. At X, at Injured List Pod, Instagram, Facebook, the Injured List Podcast, the www.injuredlist.com, TSS Fantasy Friday, Sunday morning, Operation Domination Thursday nights, Blonde Blitz. Sometimes I'll go on there. I mean, I'm all over the place. And by the way, special announcement, man, Green Gridiron, love those guys. They treated me to a nice little tour. I got a beautiful custom helmet from them that we built together on set on their YouTube studio. That was filmed. That should hopefully be dropping next week. Can't wait for that to come out. I'll tag everybody and we'll share that with the world. It's a lot of fun. Talk about the helmet technology and concussions.
Show that helmet real quick, Brian. Let's get a good look at this thing. All right, we got to get a good look at this. But still, like, look at this. Like, you know,
I got a mirror. I got a mirror visor on there. Thing is sweet. This is like, I can literally put this on and jump on the field, and I'm good to go. It's legit, authentic, fully regulated helmet here. This thing's ready to go. I'm gonna break out the real reveal next week after they release the video.
I can't wait. I'm super excited. This will, be something we could all get in on. I want a little TSS action. Let's go.
Yeah,
all right, we're gonna hear from our friends from NeuroGuard while we take Bry out. But like I said, don't forget to check out Bry online and of course his Inside the Medical Tent blog and see him on Sunday when you wake up with us. All right, Bry, we'll see you. Good luck tonight. We'll see you
right. Dr. Michael Hutchison has harnessed the latest in neuromuscular dentistry and impact technology to develop a mouthguard that does more than protect. It enhances. NeuroGuard Plus isn't just a mouthguard. By focusing on the jaw's physiological position, it provides an added layer of neuroprotection, significantly reducing the risk of sports-related neurological injuries. All athletes should be using a custom mouthguard designed to their bite position. NeuroGuard Plus was created as a means to maintain your physiological jaw position regardless of your bite. The appliance is designed to optimize your upper-lower jaw relationship to improve your strength, your balance, your oxygen intake, and drastically lower your chance of a concussion. Independent studies have shown that the NeuroGuard Plus will provide you with improvement to both upper and lower body strength. The same improvements were not present with a common mouthguard. Over 6,500 athletes have used the NeuroGuard Plus. Dr. Hutchison is happy to say that the amount of diagnosed concussions is 0.2%. The NeuroGuard Plus offers athletes, coaches, and parents an advantage to keep their players safe on the field. If you or your child actively participates in athletics, they need to be protected from the dangers of repetitive head trauma. Get your NeuroGuard Plus mouthguard today. Click on the link and use code ILP Sports for 10% discount on your purchase.
Man, I'm so excited Fred's in tonight because I made this whole intro for him and he ain't been around all season. So let's go. It's time.
Breakdown.
Bring it on down.
Breakdown.
Bring it on down. Bring it on down.
Oh, bring it on there. Bring it on there. Oh, snap.
My boy Fred got some moves on him now if he didn't know. All right, let's get going. We're going to start off tonight with the matchup of the weekend. The Raiders coming to America's team, the Miami Dolphins. Raiders against fantasy QBs are 25th, 26th against running backs. They're 5th against receivers and 28th against tight ends. The Miami America's team is number 3 against QBs, 22nd against running backs, coming up a little bit, 7th against receivers, and 8th against tight ends. Ooh-wee. What you think, Fred? Give me some guys you like and don't like.
Oh, man. We're always supposed to like anything from the Dolphins offense. I didn't know Hill was hurt like that. That's a little bit scary. But I would still run with Waddle and Hill. I mean, especially against the Raiders. Like you said, I mean, they're number 5 against wide receivers, but I still like them. I think is Achane,
Achane, yes.
Is he playing?
Yes.
You gotta start him.
Yeah.
I mean, they're number 25 at 26 against running backs. Like, come on, man. And then of course on the Raiders side, you got Brock Bowers is everything that he was. I didn't think he was gonna be that good coming out. I mean, I know he's gonna be good, but damn, he's good. And real good. And so you definitely got to start that. You definitely got to start Brock Bowers as well.
Yeah, so this game's interesting because, I've talked about it earlier when Tua was coming back, as a big fan and, of course, a season ticket holder, watching the game there is a little different. And I just feel like, the Dolphins offense was struggling with when Tua was in that Jaguars game. The first game, the offense struggled. They did okay against the Bills, but I think we've seen like the Bills in the middle anyway, are a little weak. And of course, they just ran the ball a lot during that second game. But this offense has struggled a bit. Raiders are good against receivers. But, again, I don't think I'm sitting Tyreek. But I may think about sitting Waddle if I got better options, just because it's kind of pick your poison. But the Tyreek injury he's had all season, it's just coming up. He said he's kind of re-aggravated a little bit, but I haven't seen any regression as far as his hands are concerned. The bottom line is they just got to start making better plays to get him open. Again, expectations are, I put Tua in that, mid-tier type start, if you need it. I'm not too excited about it, but we'll see how it goes. Gardner Minshew, I'm not really concerned with, but Alexander Madison could be a decent play with the Dolphins, again, being a little soft themselves, hate to say it, against the run. So just could be a guy to look out for. All right, let's go on to the Brownies at the Saints. This is just like it just looks ugly. Against fantasy QBs, the Browns are 22nd. They're 7th against running backs, 28th against receivers, and 5th against tight ends. On the Saints side, they're 9th against QBs, 29th against running backs, 23rd against receivers, 16th against tight ends. But this defense is, again, it's hit or miss. Kind of like, a la like Kirk Cousins. Like you have a good week one week and then 1 week they're out. That's kind of like what we're looking with the Saints. But, playing at home, this could be interesting. Any guys that you like on the Brown side or on the Saints side?
Wow, what a game. You always got to go with Kamara. No matter what, he gets his touches, he gets his runs. So he's the focal point. I know it says the Browns are 22nd against quarterback, but David Carr is, like you said, man, he's so, I don't know, man. He's so off and on. And then you can't really start, Taysom Hill? Because Browns are good against tight ends. So it's not a really good game. If you have any fantasy players, it's like, other than Kamara, I don't know. Is Nick Chubb back?
Nick Chubb, yeah, he's been back. He played
it, but he didn't really do anything neither. He would be on the Brown side because they're out 29th against running backs. So I guess both the running backs is something that you might want to start.
I love Nick Chubb this week, actually. Coming off the bye, he's finally, he's been in a couple games in. I think they're going to see the old Nick Chubb a little bit in this matchup. However, we'll talk about the winner on Sunday, but I think Nick Chubb's in for a good game in this one. But other than that, there's nobody I'm really too excited for, except for, of course, on the Brown side, Cedric Tillman that I brought up on Sunday. It's been 9 consecutive weeks where he's been double digits in PPR points. So again, anytime I do fantasy, I go with consistency, and that sounds like consistent play to me. All right, let's go on. On the Saints side, again, as Fred said, doesn't matter, how good the Browns are. You got to start Kamara because of the lack of weapons. I'm not riding the Marquez Valdez-Scantling train because that's, it's dangerous. It was 3 receptions. Had a great game, but it was 3 receptions. So say he's going to get blown up against the Cleveland Browns. But, if you're desperate, looking for a flex play, got somebody in a buy, might not be, be a horrible option. But I'm not definitely putting him as a wide receiver 2 or anything, or getting too excited about that just yet. All right, let's go to your home court. Colts against the Jets. Colts against fantasy QBs are 23rd, 18th against running backs, 21st against receivers, and 27th against tight ends. Of course, the Jets, they're 14th against QBs, 13th against running backs, numero uno against receivers, and 7th against tight ends. So give me some guys you like and don't like.
Coach side, you got to start Jonathan Taylor. Obviously, the Jets can't stop the run. Got to start Jonathan Taylor. They bringing back Anthony Richardson. I guess they said it's for the rest of the year. They're not going to switch out no more. I guess they're just saying, hey, listen, let's get him the reps. The season's a wash. Call it a day. So yes, you got to start the Jets defense against Anthony Richardson. He's a turnover machine. So if your league has that, definitely start the Jets defense. Got to go Garrett Wilson. The coach is just all around not a good defensive team. So just the regular characters, the Garrett Wilsons, the Breece Halls. I mean, you can start any of those for the Jets, and Devontae Adams. And I know there's a few buys this week, so if you want to start Aaron Rodgers, go right ahead. This is not really a good game, but somebody has to win.
I mean, this is from the Jets homer. But yeah, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is a bad play this week. The biggest thing I have against the Jets is you're set up to run the football and play defense. And I've been waiting for that to happen. Like, just run the football. You drive all the way downfield and you get to the 10-yard line and Aaron Rodgers wants to throw the ball 3 times. It doesn't make sense. Just keep running the football. That's the formula that works. But we'll see what happens, of course. And again, the receivers on the Jets side, it's kind of hit or miss who's going to be the guy. Obviously, they're trying to get the ball to Adams, but again, he's getting this offense and they're just trying to get their rhythm. So we could see a good day on that side with the Colts. And as you mentioned, Jonathan Taylor, Anthony Richardson, they were saying just did a better job preparing. And so that's why they put him in at the starter. So I would downgrade like Josh Downs. Michael Pittman is also back. So again, a little bit more of a downgrade for Downs as well on that one. And I'm not real high on really any of the receivers in this matchup. All right, let's go Vikings at Titans. It's like, oh my God. We
got some bad games this week, huh? Bad matchups.
Vikings are 7th against fantasy QBs, 4th against running backs, 30th against receivers, 14th against tight ends. On the Titans side, 18th against QBs, 17th against running backs, 3rd against receivers, and 6th against tight ends. So, I mean, anyone you like on the Titans side?
Maybe you might, if they're 30th against the wide receivers, maybe Calvin Ridley you want to go with. I don't really know what else the Titans got. I mean, who's throwing them the ball these days? It's what's his name? Who they starting this week?
It's Will Levis right now.
Oh, they're gonna start Will Levis?
Yeah.
Okay. Calvin Ridley, I'm starting for the Titans. The Vikings are a lot different. I don't care how good the Titans are against wide receivers. You start Justin Jefferson no matter what every single time, makes no difference. And I mean, and of course, this might be a Sam Darnold game. I know the Titans are really weak, so this might be a little good combination for them.
Yeah, so Will Levis started last week, just so you
Did
know.
He? I thought they benched him.
Last time they played, and Calvin really had a really good game with him. So so that's why they're, it could be you could be right though. It could be a good connection with Calvin Ridley against the Vikings. They're going to have to throw the football, period, because they're going to be down in this matchup more than likely. Although we saw the Vikings struggle a little bit last week, as they say, any given Sunday. But yeah, you play Sam Darnold. Again, he's one of those. He's not somebody I'm really excited to play. He's like in that Tua range for me. Like, I'm not really excited to play him, but if I have to because of buys, I don't think he's a horrible option. And you got it because he has Justin Jefferson. Jordan Addison could be okay in here, but again, Titans got a good secondary, so you may see a lot more in the run game, depending on if Aaron Jones can go. If not, maybe see a little Cam Akers, so that could be a little sneaky flex play you could throw in there if that ends up being the case if Aaron Jones can't go. So.
The Titans are so bad. I thought they were still starting Mason Rudolph, bro. That's how much I don't watch them. Oh,
yeah, they are that bad. It's like something you don't even want to watch. All right, speaking of train wrecks, Packers at the Bears. The Packers against fantasy QBs are 6th, 15th against running backs, 11th against receivers, and 23rd against tight ends. The Bears are number 1 against QBs, 16th against running backs, number 2 against receivers, and 19th against tight ends. All right, so what say you? Give me some guys you like and don't like.
You can't really start the Bears quarterback. They just fired their offensive coordinator. And what is Eberflus doing, man? We're starting this from last year again. I mean, the guy is a stud coming out of college. And now you're already changing the offensive coordinator. You might change the head coach at the end of the year. I don't know what the Bears are doing. You're supposed to create stability. But player-wise, Jordan Love is good for a pick 6. Bears defense. You got to start Jordan Love. You got to start. What is it? Jaden Reed. I don't really know.
Josh Jacobs was a little banged up, but he's good to go for this one, so he could be a decent play. Also,
I'm kind of worried about the Bears, to be honest. They haven't really looked really good, man. They really haven't.
The Bears have looked really bad, quite frankly. So yeah, I hate for our boy Brad from the Unbearable podcast. I'm sorry, bro. But yeah, I think the Bears are in a little bit of a free fall right now. So I definitely am high on any of the Packers in this matchup. Their defense has played okay. But then they have it at the same time. So I could see a lot of Josh Jacobs in this one as well, since he is good to go. So those are some guys I like. And you can't pick any Bears receiver. The bottom line, there's no one that's stuck out so far. There's nobody really on the Bears that I'm like, I can't wait to have him in my lineup this week. I'm looking to bench him.
I mean, even though Doomsday, I was expecting so much, and it's like,
it's crowded. You got Keenan Allen, you got Moore. It's just, it's a crowded receiving backfield, if you will, receiving core. I mean, and that's the struggle there. And Caleb Williams is right now still struggling in this offense. So, I'm not really excited about any of that or their defense this week, because Packers are good. All right, let's go to a really good matchup. Jags at the Lions. This is where we get excited. Jags are 30th against QBs, 30th against running backs, 27th against receivers, 26th against tight ends. Lions 13th against QBs, 6th against running backs, 31st against receivers, and number 2 against tight ends. So guys you like and don't like.
Okay, so we got to start anybody from the Lions. That's Golf. That's Amon-Ra St. Brown. Any of the 2 running backs. You just start all of them. On the Jags side, okay, since the Lions are 31 against the Riders, who's their main culprit over there?
The what? I'm sorry?
Who's the main wide receiver over in Jacksonville?
Oh, Brian Thomas right now. So
okay.
This guy come prepared tonight. I can't believe
and then,
it.
No, but this guy's not hurt neither. What's his name? The second receiver. Oh my God. It's Jacksonville, dude. It's Jacksonville.
Christian Kurt, and he went out.
The guy from they used to play for Buffalo, man. What the hell's his name?
Gabe Davis. But he's not nothing all year, though.
Yeah, he's not hurt. That's the problem is the Jags are just a train wreck right now. Trevor Lawrence doesn't look good. ETN. There you go. You might want to start him. I mean, Bigsby is out.
All right, let me help you here. I think, I actually think ETN is a good play this week.
Starting him.
Just mentioned Bigsby being out, but it's really just because of volume. Lions have a really good run defense, so it's not because it's a good matchup. It's just about volume in there. And they're going to have to throw the football this week, so we'll see if anyone can step up in the receiving core. There's nobody really other than Brian Thomas that I would start there. And obviously, as you said, you're starting all your Lions except, of course, Laporta out. To be honest, I came unprepared myself. I don't know who the backup tight end is, and I haven't really seen.
It doesn't matter. It's the Jags.
I know. Well, that's true. Whoever it is, go pick him up. All right, let's go. Rams at Patriots. This is getting better and better and better.
What's going on this week?
Rams 15th against QBs, 14th against running backs, 22nd against receivers, 24th against tight ends. Patriots 12th against QBs, 24th against running backs, 17th against receivers, and 15th against tight ends. So, guys you like and don't like.
Let me start with the Patriots. You know what? I will start Drake May if I had quarterbacks on the bye. He's been doing pretty good lately. He's been getting his little points here and there, running the ball. So I'll give him a little bit of props. He's a lot better than what I expected. And I guess Ramondre Stevenson. I know the Rams are middle tier against running backs. So you hope by volume, not that it's a great play, but they, that's what they got. The Rams I think they were embarrassed last game they played. I think they just, right? Did they lose last game?
They lost to America's team
on Monday Night Football. I think they come back and looking a lot better. Stafford, both the wide receivers. Kyron Williams didn't have a great game. I expect him to do a lot better as well. So you can start the Rams confidently against the Patriots.
All right, like it. All right, like I said, there's everything you said. You hit right there. Kyron Williams, great play this week. Cooper Kupp, Puka, whatever you call it, you get it. Even Colby Parkinson, who knows? No, but I'm not sorry, Colby Parkinson, just kidding. But I like Cooper, I like Puka, like Kyron Williams, like Stafford. It's going to be a good game for the Rams, I think. Against the Patriots.
Get right after that Miami debacle.
Get right. I like that. All right, I want to blow through that because let's talk about this one. Ravens at the Steelers. Not your old school though. Not your old school though. Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
Have you been? I don't know if you've been listening, but have you? They've been talking shit to each other back and forth, the fans and everybody.
All right.
Yeah, they're so close. They're like, oh, they're both good. So they're like,
yeah, I like the way old school. You see a lot of hitting in this one. I don't know if we're gonna quite see that on the Ravens side anyway, because against QBs are 31st, 9th against running backs, but dead last against receivers and 25th against tight ends. Steelers are second against QBs, 12th against running backs, 12th against receivers, and 17th against tight ends. So give me some guys you like and don't like, but this is a good matchup.
It's a good match. I mean, I know the Steelers are really good against quarterbacks, but you got to start Lamar Jackson, regardless. And of course, you got to start Derrick Henry, man. These are obvious choices. Their wide receiver number one. Who did they for the Steelers? They just got. Is it Deontay Johnson?
No.
Who was it? I forgot who they just traded for. I thought it was.
Oh my goodness, bro! Like, geez, please, Deontay Johnson went to God. Now I'm laughing. I can't remember.
Yeah, laugh about that. I thought it was one of these two teams.
It what? Yeah, to the Ravens, but I thought you were talking about the Steelers, though.
I was.
I was like, what? But he was on the Steelers, so.
Yeah, there you go.
See, I told you guys it was going to be fun tonight.
Yeah. I'm not the Friday night, so let me see here. Yeah, so I would start those three. And the Steelers, I just don't trust them, man. I mean, Najee Harris, you have a good game, and then you have a really bad game. I mean, Russell Wilson. Start Russell Wilson. He has to throw the ball, so definitely start Russell Wilson. And
George Pickens on
George
the
Pickens. George Pickens. Oh, that's what you got. Russell Wilson to George Pickens. Russell Wilson to Pickens.
Yeah, even that first game, Russell Wilson came back. I think it really showed like he was throwing air balls up, and Pickens just showed the ability just to go make a play to it. So, bottom line is that they're starting to connect a little more. So obviously against this Ravens secondary, you got to go with there, and like Freiermuth in this matchup as well. Again, Ravens are kind of tough against running backs, but you could definitely see some passes to Najee. Although Jaylen Warren is back as well, so he may take a little bit away from that. So Jaylen Warren might even be a nice flex option for you if you got somebody on a bye. All righty. I can't wait for that, though, honestly. That's going to be
it's going to be a good it should be an old school. I wish it was like the old school slobber knocker defense running game.
Right. It was that, kind of like.
It might be because sometimes the Ravens play down to their competition, and they just do dumb stuff sometimes. They're a lot better than what their record shows.
We'll talk about this a little more on Sunday, but I'll just go ahead and bust this out now. An interesting stat is last year, you forget, but the Steelers swept the Ravens last year, and so ironic that they beat them with the same score, 17-10 and 17-10. That's really interesting.
Low scoring game.
So we shall see how this one goes. All right, let's go. This one could be okay. Seahawks at the 49ers. Seahawks against fantasy QBs are 21st, 20th against running backs, 24th against receivers, and 21st against tight ends. 49ers, 10th against QBs, 23rd against running backs, 10th against receivers, and 10th against tight ends. It's just a theme. They're 10th about everything. All right, so what do you think, guys you like and don't like?
All the 49ers starters you got to start because they're just middle-tier Seahawks defense. Purdy. McCaffrey, start him. He already had 1 weekend. He should be picking up pace. Debo, and, of course, Kittle. Now, on the Seahawks side, I like Geno, but I'm scared to start him. Everybody on their team, I'm scared to start because nobody's stands out like, oh, yeah, they're going to really do it this week. It's like, who's their running back?
Why, it's Kenneth Walker. I was going to say that's probably the guy.
The only one
I would target in that. And, I think, no matter what, I wouldn't necessarily be Geno's in that like Tua range. I'm just going to keep calling it the Tua range for me this week. But I don't think how can you not like DK Metcalf? He's always going to step up and do big things. So, and it's just a big rivalry matchup, division rivalry.
I think if it was in Seattle, I would be a little bit more inclined to lean that way. But in the 49er house, I don't know, man.
I mean, they're going to have 49ers going to put it this way. 49ers going to put up points. They're going to have to throw. So that to me is the bottom line. So, you're going to see some DK there no matter what. And you're definitely going to see some Kenneth Walker. Obviously, the only thing I'll say on the 49er side is Ricky Pearsall may end up being a nice little flex play for you, or Juwan Jennings. So just somebody, a couple other guys on that 49er side you might want to look at. All right, let's go to another, I think, a decent matchup. Falcons at the Broncos. Falcons against fantasy QBs are 26th, 10th against running backs, 26th against receivers, and 22nd against tight ends. Broncos 8th against QBs, 21st against running backs, 4th against receivers, and 20th against tight ends. So is it Kirk Cousins week this week? What do you think?
This game is good, but not very interesting at all. Let's see here. I go with Bo Nix. I do have him in one of my leagues. He does fairly well. Oh, Cortland Sutton. He's been sneakily getting double points, and he's been playing pretty good lately. So I'll definitely go with that
too.
Yeah, good matchup with Sutton. So yeah, Bo Nix, Sutton, they both good. The Falcons, Jesus. Start. I don't care. Start Kirk Cousins, man.
He's a roller coaster, bro.
Yeah, man. Sometimes they throw for 320 yards.
Right. But this is a good Broncos secondary. I just feel like he may. And by the way, I didn't want to. Again, we always save some stuff for Sunday, but this game is calling for snow. So, yes. So I don't know. We'll see though. It said possible snow, so I don't know what that means. But in any event, maybe some weather involving this may kind of dial things down. You got like Bijan Robinson. Broncos have running back, so you got to go there. And Darnell Mooney, man, listen, I mean, Drake London is good, but I think Drake London's going to see a lot of Surtain. So, Darnell Mooney might be the guy to bust a big one out for the Falcons. So we'll see. All right, let's go to Let's go to a good one. Chiefs at the Bills. Chiefs against fantasy QBs are 17th. They're number 1 against running backs. They're 9th against receivers, and they're 31st against tight ends. Bills are 5th against QBs, 31st against running backs, 8th against receivers, and 12th against tight ends. So what say you? Is there somebody you don't like here?
Nope. Start everybody. Start everybody on both sides of the ball. They always have good game. Both quarterbacks, both running backs. I mean, I wish Pacheco was in. That would have been great, but Hunt's going to hold it down pretty well. Start the wide receivers. I'm really hoping Amari Cooper does well. I want him to have a nice big game. He hasn't had one yet, but I really do want him to have one. And just start everybody. I mean, the weakest the tight end for
Amari Cooper is a little banged up. Probably should have talked about that. So we'll see if he ends up going. But we'll see. Chiefs Steve is pretty tough. I don't know. James Cook, I'm not in love with this week. But again, this is going to be a good game. Going to see a lot of games. I think you'll see a resurgence of Pat Mahomes here as well. Again, you got to like Kareem Hunt. The Bills are completely soft as a baby's bottom in that front seven. So I would definitely expect to see a lot of Kareem Hunt this week.
That should be another very cold game. We'll talk about that Sunday, but
we'll talk about I'm going to give it all away. You got to bring the Sunday morning. All right, let's go. We got 2 more. Let's finish this up. Bengals at Chargers. Bengals against fantasy QBs are 28th. 8th against running backs, 20th against receivers, 29th against tight ends. Chargers, 11th against QBs, 3rd against running backs, 6th against receivers, and 18th against tight ends. So what say you? Guys you like and don't like?
You start both quarterbacks. Wow, the running backs, they're pretty good against their running backs, both of them. They're not slouches. Okay. You still start. I still think you start everybody because this is the type of game when you have Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow. If they're throwing the ball like crazy, you got to start everybody. I mean, this might be a really good fantasy football game. I mean, they might see some high-scoring points here.
I mean, let's see if we see a resurgence of good old Justin. We know Joe Burrow's been kind of getting it on lately, but this Chargers D is pretty good. But they had some holes last week. So, I'm interested to see how this turns out. I don't know if it's going to be a huge fantasy bonanza. I think if that's the case, I think you'll see it more on the Bengals side. Because this offense this offense right now in the Chargers, they've been running the football a lot more.
Right. It's the defense and the run that's been holding up the Chargers. I don't mean to cut you off, but how nice is it to have a nice, fresh brand new coach that knows what the hell they're doing to lift up your team.
It makes all the difference in the world. That's for sure, bro. Absolutely. All right, let's finish things up with the Monday Night Delight. Texans at the Cowboys. Texans against fantasy QBs are 19th, 5th against running backs, 25th against receivers. They are number 1 against tight ends. Cowboys 29th against QBs, 28th against running backs, 19th against receivers, and 11th against tight ends. What say you guys? You like and don't like?
Damn, their defense is so bad. The Cowboys. Start everybody on the Texans, man. Start everybody. It's just a damn shame because a couple of years ago, this would have been last year would have been a surefire game. Like, oh, we got to watch this. Not this year. All right, so start everybody on the Texans side. I don't care. There's nothing that the Cowboys show that they're good at. Prescott's out. So I guess, this guy had a good game. The guy you told me to pick up. Oh, my God, I can't forget his name. Rico
Dowdle.
Rico Dowdle.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a decent game start, even though the Texans are number 5 against the running backs. I got to start him anyway. He's on my team. So I don't know.
I do like Texans D in this matchup. Cooper Rush obviously is struggling in this offense, so I think this is a good matchup for them. CeeDee Lamb, I'm sorry for your owner.
What are we going to do with him? Yeah.
He's like flex play, I guess. That's kind of where I would see him right now, which is crazy to say, but that's where I see Tyreek right now. Which is
he was top 4, top 5, top. Now you're like, maybe he's a flex play? Oh, my God.
He was number 1 in a lot of rankings earlier in the season. Obviously, Tyreek was up there as well. So this has just been a crazy season for sure, especially for fantasy. And this is why we made the show, just in case any of y'all know. It's kind of like a thumbs up to the experts, because the bottom line is nobody knows shit. We're just trying our best, looking at the numbers, and we make our best guess. That's the bottom line. So all you so-called experts, blah, we ain't trying to hear it. All right, listen, the bottom line tonight is we got a fight to get to. I'm sorry, I felt like we kind of rushed through things tonight because, it's fight night. We always got stuff to go to. So go ahead, man.
We all want to get that Mike Tyson feel back. We want to just go back. Nostalgia, man.
Feeling it tonight. I was like, I haven't watched boxing in so long. I'm just so excited. But anyway, check us out on Sunday, of course, 8 a.m. We got all the great stuff for you. We got our fantasy friends, Fantasy Jesus, blessing your lineups. We got all kind of great stuff. So make sure you come wake up with us on Sunday morning, 8 a.m. But before we close tonight, our boy, Mr. Mallard, stopped in, and he's got some sophisticated starts to lay on you. So let's check it out.
Hello, welcome into Sophistication Station. I'm Andrew LeDuc, aka Mr. Mallard, and I am the classy one here to help you get your classy must-starts of the week this week. And one of them, I believe, is David Montgomery. Montgomery and Gibbs are both startable, about at the same level as far as fantasy value goes. So I like Montgomery's touchdown upside in that offense, and I like the matchup this week. So David Montgomery, keep him in that RB1 or RB2 slot, depending on what your options are. Now, Deebo Samuel, he gets Seattle this week. He is a Seattle killer. I expect Deebo Samuel to continue that trend against that team, and I expect Deebo Samuel to be a top 5 wide receiver this week. So start him if you have him. And then another wide receiver I think is going to have a nice big day is Cortland Sutton. Cortland's his favorite target. Troy Franklin was a thing for a little bit, but he's kind of faded off. Sutton is the guy in that offense in a game against Atlanta where the Broncos are going to have to keep throwing it. They are at home, so I expect a big day out of Cortland Sutton. Top 20 type of guy, top 15 type of performance this week. So, Montgomery, Samuel, Sutton, keep it classy and go get that one, boys and girls.
Oh la la! If he were to punch you in the face, you would have to fight off the strong urge to thank him.
To thank him, indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for sticking around. Again, don't forget, wake up with us 8 a.m. for Wake Up with TSS Fantasy. Thanks for hanging out tonight. From us to you, we appreciate you, and we are out.